So I'm still on this Cadillac, the 3.0. So the 3.0, the 3.5, the 3.6 will all be the same. It has a dead injector on cylinder 1. Cylinder 1 on the front wheel drive models are against the back of the engine. And it's the very first one in line. So this starts the front. And that is bank 1. So that bank would be bank 1. This bank up here in the front would be bank 2. They say that you have to have a specialty tool to be able to get these injectors out. Well, I didn't have one, and this local parts store doesn't have one, so I improvised. The front rail, I was able to, let me turn this light off so I can zoom out a little bit. The front rail I was able to take out. You have to take all of the high pressure crap out except for the high pressure pump itself. So you got the 2 different lines. Supposedly this is only a one-time use line here. I think that's BS because I've used them multiple times and never had an issue. You just got to make sure you tighten it back down when you're done. They are 17 millimeter, but 11/16 will work. You want to take this section of the line off first. That would be sitting here, crossing the 2 rails and connecting to the high pressure fuel pump. Then you've got this line, which mounts here and on the other head in the same place, and then connects to the bottom of the high pressure fuel pump. You can see the nipple there. Take that line out. These are 15 millimeter on both of them, 17 millimeter on all of the nuts that hold the lines on. Make sure to depressurize the fuel rail via that port right there. The injectors have to come out all together. I've tried to pull out the back side or the bank 1 side, and I didn't have any luck getting those out by themselves, so I pulled this side loose and got them out first. So you disconnect your power plugs to your injectors. When you take the bracket out over there, that will get rid of the bracket that holds them on, so you need to disconnect. They must be on the fuel injector rails. You want to disconnect the Christmas trees that are connected to them as well. Let's see. You don't have to unplug them until they come completely out. When you get the front and back rails disconnected, you'll take your pry bar, like if you got a crow's foot pry bar like I have here, you'll take them. This is the way that the injectors would be sitting in the front. I'll go ahead and take them back over just to show representation here. They sit in the hole just like so. They'll be a little further forward, but the power steering pump's in the way. Take your pry bar and stick it under this section here, then here, and then the very end, pulling up slowly. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on it and bend the rail and take the chance of ruining the injectors. The local parts stores, the injectors are like $130 or something like that. Probably wouldn't hurt to replace them all, because this one right here looks like it may be heated a little too much and they're very dirty. I'll clean those up before putting them back in, but I pried in this section, and this section. The front one came out. This essentially what you're doing is prying this past the intake port, so it gets hung up here, here, and here. You want to make sure that the wiring for the injectors does not get caught at the same time, so don't get ahead of yourself. And then the back, you do the same thing, but the back, you can move the injector rail slightly towards the driver's side if it's front wheel drive, and then it comes right out. I actually found that out by mistake because I went and helped someone else and came back and it just came right out of my hand, and here I was fighting with it beforehand. When you put it back in, you want to make sure to lubricate the O-rings, and you don't have to have a special tool for these either. I'll show you what I did. Don't mind the mess. So This is the O-ring here. Or sorry, the injector. This is the O-ring that goes inside of it. It's actually supposed to be sitting on the top ring here. This one actually pulled out and got stuck inside, but regardless, these sit on there like so. Flip the whole entire rail over, making sure not to damage the end of the injectors. Take a flat head, pop this side off, and kind of push down a little bit. That way it'll leave a gap on the back side of it. And then you'll take your screwdriver up under here and pry up on this. Putting it back on is going to be simple. It's not hard to do. You make sure you match the design so you don't go on this way. You want to put it on like that. Make sure that this ring is back on the new one. I'll push this one off here in just a minute, but when you put the injector in, you want to lubricate it as well. Put that ring on and then slide one side of it on first, which would be the side that faces the wiring harness of the injector, and then you press the front side in, or the side that you initially pried off. Going back in is fairly straightforward. It's easier going back in than it was to come out.